First of all, they're changing my voice because they know I'm right. Secondly, I'm not going to be having any children, and I'm already 44 years old. And I have no intention of living a long life. I do not intend to be alive at 60, 70, 80 years old. Maybe I'll be alive at 60, but I certainly won't be alive at 100, for example. So I have no intention to live a long life. That's important here. So why am I being targeted? Well, because people act like stereotypical, again, stereotypical whites, Jews, and LGBT people in the governing class, and countless people roll with it. Right, there's a thin line between a greedy middle class person and a greedy governing class person, and there's lots of them. And so they act kind of like fraternity people, Freemasons. They act like, cartoon characters, kind of all mixed together with some kind of serial killer thinking. And they persecute me. And so they say, mess up his voice, and they giggle, and they make weird frat faces, and, they act like porn stars and circus people. They act like complete idiots. And it's very common because white culture always included a large degree of that, right? When they're wearing wigs, it wasn't because they understood style and sense, it's because they lack sense. You see the blue hair on the horses or the ponies or whatever that was in the coronation in England was because they lack sense. And central to mainstream white culture is English culture. And right there next to it is German culture. No offense to anybody. These are the facts here. The purpose of this video isn't to insult white ladies and gentlemen, Jewish ladies and gentlemen, LGBT ladies and gentlemen. The purpose of this video is to help you understand the two main competing models for your future. Not so much for my future or my offspring, because I'm not going to have any flesh-based offspring in this world. I'm not going to have any kids, okay, in this world. Any physical kids, right? Children who are here in this world, I'm not going to have any. Okay, so you could try to argue with me if you want to say, no, I don't want to do it that way. I prefer their way. Hey, whatever. I'm just telling you your two options here. The first option is the option we have already. You basically have whites, Jews, and LGBT people and token minorities, with Asians and maybe Arabs, people from Saudi Arabia having more influence than other token minorities. And they're influencing the direction of the world, and there seems to be some kind of technological edge with the Chinese, but they don't really seem to have enough money and resources to kind of really leverage it. And of course, whites, Jews, and LGBT people have infiltrated China and groups like that to a large degree. So, but there's no telling what it's going to be. But as things stand, with the two main, we'll call them Western options for a future that is almost certainly Western heavy, we have the existing option, which is this kind of MAGA circus way about people, right? The cartoon way. It also is the left wing and the libertarians, and they're kind of gayish way. They're kind of like, Power Rangers, Pokemon. Every once in a while, you see somebody who's more like somebody from the 90s or something. It's this very immature, sort of surreal LGBT and LGBT-ish planet. Where LGBT people at best are maybe 9% of the planet, maybe. Probably more logically 4% or so. But there's a lot of people who are kissing up to them because they see certain financial opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have. We first saw it really pronounced with rap, where they were going on and on about the gay agenda and how they couldn't get a job unless they were gay friendly, about how there's gatekeepers. Even the word gate starts with the word gay. And the word mage is a play on words, is the word game scrambled. And the word game starts with the word gay, right, in terms of sounds. If you have any questions about that, put it in the comments. So again, that's the first model. The first model is gay and gayish. It's whitewashed, it's Jewish washed, and we see a bunch of people acting very immature and spoiled, and they're acting like childish racists, spoiled brats, old money buffoons, demonic infrastructure creating trash. And in that model, one of the main differences is you see that these types of people I just described are forcing their ways on you, and you don't have freedom at all. They basically say it's their way or you get screened out. And if you do it their way, you get screened out if you're not rich enough, if you're not this enough or that enough. And they're fuming people and poisoning people to maintain a certain atmosphere and environment so they can feel a certain way, so they can play a childish sort of Harry Potter-like game where they feel The next model, you suppress white supremacy, Jewish supremacy, and LGBT cultures. And you prevent them from being on the central um, committee, and you give LGBT people an option to have their own region or to be spread out thinly over, you know, the whole world, what have you. Because LGBT culture specifically, or both, mind you, LGBT culture specifically is quote unquote, no offense to anybody, this is how they define it themselves, is stupid and pointless, right? We see it in the Urban Dictionary. It is said to be odd and queer. So if you're having a logical society where things are governed a certain way, which is conducive to good mental health and logical social relations, do you want to give white people an unfair edge? No. Do you want to give Jewish people an unfair edge? No. Do you want LGBT supremacy and LGBT cultures making things odd and weird and Power Ranger like and sissy and Babylon childish and shallow and counterproductive, pathetic and disgraceful? No. Okay, it's one thing to be gay. It's another thing to be like a gay parade. Do you want something that's gay parade-ish or gay parade-like? No. That's not how you have a sane society. And again, before you want to argue with me about it, keep in mind, I'm not going to be here. I'm simply saying what kind of future you could have. And in the second model, you must keep, social clubs and secret societies and corporations from interfering. You must suppress them. It should be something that the people determine and not these groups of people who have historically brought us down. And some people say you're putting them all in the same category. That's like saying you're putting all Nazis in the same category. You know why social clubs are allowed to exist? Because they're bitch ass motherfuckers without exception, period. Every single social club is part of the New World Order. If they weren't, they would be dissolved. It's that simple. Especially these ones that go way back. If you don't know that, you're an idiot. And idiots should also be kept out of the process. It's very straightforward.